Okay, I'm back, and I'm putting up walls in a shower. So it is a series that I'm making here on a build of a really cool shower with a glass corner, but you don't have to watch the whole thing. This method goes for any shower that you build. I'm using Wedi building panels. That's a foam board, which makes it waterproof, with a cementitious top layer, so a cementy gray top. Probably my favorite product, although I don't make any rules. Every project gets a new outlook and decisions based on that project. Anyway, it's step by step, panel by panel, hopefully a lot of info pouring out of my brain as I go. If you don't know how to build a shower like this, hopefully you get a lot out of it. And also, since I am new here, this is my second video as I'm posting this. My name is Shawn. I build things, usually bathrooms, design whenever possible, but also, of course, that skill set leads to kitchens, all kinds of woodwork, anything awesome in the house is what I love to do. If any of that sounds good to you, subscribe, like the video, I'd really appreciate it. I realized recently what I love doing more than anything is sharing. I've been doing it on Instagram for years and years and years, and I'll probably say this for the first few videos because I am new here. But anyway, I love sharing what I do, so hope you enjoy this one. Let's build this shower. Here on my, it's a low angle and we're crooked, come on. I do want to put a couple plates on here. I don't want any mistakes today. I'm going to cover this up, and I should be fine with just those two areas. But as usual, I'm going to chisel out that little bit so these sit flush. I marked where my plate ends with marker on both spots. I'm just going to dig in there a little bit with the blade. That blade has seen better days. And then this doesn't have to be neat. Okay, now I can cut my Wedi panel. I marked on the floor where my studs are because we have this switch in our framing right here, so I won't be able to see where they are. I also marked right here on my wall that it's already up where this piece is, so I'm aware of where my framing switches, so I know where to put screws. Let's cut this panel. I'm cutting this one to include my little floor L here, so I'm not just cutting this wall straight down, I'm cutting for this and then to go over. Just because I like having one piece rather than a seam to add on, especially with a small tile. We have 2-inch tiles here, so I'd rather have continuous pieces than seams. Okay, so I cut my panel full, even though I'm cutting out this, you can't see from that angle, but anyway, it's full at the floor, full size of the shower. Now I have my little mud guard to work around, which I'll just eyeball. I'll mark where that's falling. I'll make sure I'm tight against the wall first, so ignore that first mark that I just made. And then what I do want is a measurement. Oh, 1 inch 3/4. I'm going to eyeball that curve. If you don't think you can do it, then well, I don't know what to tell you. Be on the safe side then, and you can always redo it. Or hit it again, I mean. So, let's see here. So I try to do nice cuts when I'm plunging it with the knife. That's because I'd rather go all the way in and slice the foam than just cut the surface and then tear the foam by folding it back. I don't want, because if you're tearing the foam a lot, you could tear out a huge chunk and then you have like a void or something. So I'm just trying to get nice-ish cuts on my foam. And that's pretty much perfect. And so with the tile, I said I have a 2-inch tile. So I want to be super tight around anything that I have to cut out, because a 2-inch tile needs backing everywhere. If you had a 1-foot tile and you were missing, like, you know, a little ear flap here, it'd kind of be okay. But with a 2-inch tile, you need that backing wherever you are. So that worked out really good. It's perfect. That's a go. I'm just looking over. So we're going to get our Wedi sealant in this corner. So I'm going to pull this out. My screws ready. I always cut the lid off my box. Put them right next to me. What else? This is the wrong bit. Wedi is Phillips head. Squish right into this corner. Watch it ooze out. Makes you feel good that it's in there. Let's just get one in place somewhere. Okay, now every 12 inches there's one. This one's closer just because I like to have extra when I know that the next one is between the two. So I like to have that one that's in between the two and then one kind of close to that, and then 12 inches everywhere else. My mark here. My framing changes here, so I can get one right here in this stud. And then my framing changes to here, eyeballing that. "12 inches down. Let's see if that worked. Alright, I'm going to continue. See you on the next piece. Okay, next piece is cut. Ugh. Sorry, that work light's right in my face, but sealant on our last panel. I don't need it. I forgot to mention the in this corner, tucked away here, where it's like there's only 10 inches between our two studs. We're gonna have a really narrow but taller niche, so hopefully there'll be a couple shelves worth. And then up here, I just put in a piece of blocking for a big cabinet that's going on the other wall, just so we have some extra place to screw in on the sides. Just thinking ahead, maxing out my thoughts. Get our bead in the corner here. Angle that in so the corner hits first. And down. Of course, with pencil marks I made on the ceiling for where my studs are, because I can't see anything right now. So, and both of these panels are cut long. Actually, next thing I'm going to do is take probably a Sawzall with a metal blade, a fine-tooth blade, and run it down right against my stud here, so that these are cut flat and then they're not in the way. The niche gets built as usual while we're tiling to see where the grout lines end up. But I made marks so I know where the niche is. So I know there's a piece of wood coming across down here. I marked that, so that's the lowest possible spot my niche could be. Although I can definitely make it a little higher if I want. Good idea for my 12-inch. So I don't know if you can see, yeah. So there are angled cut up top. And then any small pieces, like on the curb, I'm gonna do tomorrow with the table saw. Today is Sunday. I'm just doing some extra work, so I don't want to bust out another layer of tools. This feels really good to have these walls up. I can start planning our layout for the tile. Nice. Good. Feels good. Yes, I just put my hand in that. This concludes our Sunday fun day. Like I said, tomorrow I'm going to do the small pieces like the curb. Got to do some calculations. Hopefully my drain assembly comes in the mail, so I'll know if I have to add another 2x4 on my curb. That's why I'm waiting on that. We'll see. I wouldn't mind if I did that because our floor is a full inch thick, so it's okay if we have to come up one more. I mean our terrazzo floor. Anyway, see ya. Okay, it is the next day. Most of the shower built, and by the way, this would all be done in one day, but yesterday was a Sunday. I just didn't want to break out the table saw that like I said, I'm going to do my small pieces around the curb and my little angled piece up there, which you can't see right now, but I want to cut 45s on a piece where we had to build out, instead of making a squared off soffit to hide some old pipes, we just threw an angle there, kind of pretend it's like a roof line. Just get a better feel than having a cliff of a soffit. So anyway, I got to cut these. I don't have my reciprocating sawzall, so I'm just taking I always keep a what's called hacksaw blade on me, and I'm just going to run it against this stud here. It's long enough to go through. Basically it gives me a nice enough cut right up against the stud, and then I'm going to cap it with our perfectly cut piece on the table saw. And in this instance, I just want the pieces nice and perfectly cut because we're dealing with a 2-inch tile. So if I had a raw cut and then I just gooped up the corner with our sealant, it wouldn't be a nice tight thing. So I'm just trying to have a nice perfect slice to put my small tiles on top of. Small tiles, you can't, cover discrepancies in your substrate, so you have to be a little neater to start with. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this down. If you see what I mean, I can just follow the stud nice and straight. So if I scored with a knife in there, right, my knife would be going in at an angle, and then I would break it off and it would be angled in. This just gives me a straight cut across the plane. Okay, I think I mentioned also I'm leaving this a little high right now. You see that? Above my current curb, just in case I have to add an extra layer to this curb, which I don't know yet because my drain setup comes tomorrow. So just leaving that an extra day. But there you have it. Nice and pretty good cut. Oh, lots of things to bring up here, right? So we've got this is a 45-degree angle. When I put the framing in, basically this, this cross piece, I used my laser to make sure it was totally straight, because especially now that we're dealing with small tiles, we've got 2-inch tiles. So anything that is off, right, either not lined up or square or level or, squared to the room this way. So we have this problem, and then this at the ceiling, this problem too. But with a 2-inch tile, you see that difference right away. So if your line starts to drift, you'll see it because 2 inches away, you have a straight grout line. If we had 1-foot tiles, you wouldn't notice. If you had a grout line down here and then this line up here was uneven, it would kind of disappear because your eye doesn't see even a 1/4 inch off with a foot away being the next reference point. You wouldn't see it, but basically, I'm telling you what's keeping me up at night this week. So anyway, before I put my piece in, I just cut my piece to put in there. I want to make sure that I'm looking good. So I got my little laser. You probably can't see it totally. But I am good. I'm basically off by a 1/16, but that's okay because, whatever gap I leave when I put this piece in, will make up for that. I also, by the way, if you see an extra piece of wood, I just added this scrap because this span was a little bit more than 16. It was more like 18. So I wanted to add a scrap of wood so I could put an extra screw in there. Just me being nutty. Let me see what I mean now that we have a wall. When these two tiles meet, it's gotta be good. And like I said, that's level. That's the twist of this wall. It's the twist of the ceiling. So a lot of things, it's inevitable that something won't be flawless, but I want to at least feel pretty good about it. Again, I don't know if you can see this laser, but for myself, I'm putting the laser on that crack. It's pretty good, even without being screwed in. So, anyway, let's just go there. And I wanted to say that all out loud to let you know what I'm worried about. Edge. Hopefully by bringing up the thought process, it helps. All right, a few more. Basically, I only need one top and bottom, although I always feel the need to put more, so. Piece of cake. Let's just use my finger here. Don't want to get the trowel out. Next. Anyway, let's get this piece. I'm not bringing the camera, and I rarely bring the camera outside because I am at work, so I can't show every little close-up. Like, not everything is an epic close-up. I'm just running these through the table saw. I gotta cover this. Right now, it's 4 3/8. Plus a little line. Someone called that 7/16. 4 3/8. I'm gonna cut it a hair short just so that it's not sticking out on this side. On this side, I wanna make it perfectly flush when I screw it in. And then I'll have a nice sharp edge to finish off my tile when I'm doing my layout and stuff. I don't know if you can see, this is a decent cut. This is what I consider a decent cut. Tried to bring you in here, but. This was with the hacksaw blade. I'll show you how smooth the cut is when I come in with the table saw cut. So, it's always the hardest thing, getting this to focus. That's the perfect cut on the table saw. Anyway, sometimes it's important, sometimes it's not. But here, I want to line that flawless edge on the inside of my shower. And then I'm just a hair shorter than the wall itself. That way I have a feeling, I don't know, I think we have stone here. So yes, I'm gonna have to finish this. I'll probably use a vinyl corner bead to keep it small to finish my drywall on this side. Anyway, let's screw that in. Crucial here, especially down, because this meets our floor and our edge of our shower. Did I hit record? Yes. So I put this bead, and then you don't glue Wedi panels down, but anytime I have a little piece, I usually put some kind of glue, just because where the screws are going, it's very easy to twist the board. So I just like to, I feel better getting some kind of adhesion. Not a big deal. That's not my piece. And then little pieces take up so much because I end up overdoing it. I'm gonna have two here at the seam. I never just go down the middle. I don't know if I've said that, because you push down the middle. Once you suck in the middle, all of a sudden your ends want to come out, or in my head anyway. So maybe I'll alternate every 6 inches, which gives me 12 inches on each side going down. That makes great sense to me. Cool, so one more piece going up. Hopefully that's one piece. Yep. And then that's it. Actually, today we have glass people stopping by to talk about how this corner is going to be built, just to chat. That won't be on camera, I'm just saying it out loud. And then I'll probably hit all these screws. Well, if I have to open up a new tube of sealant, I'll hit all these screws. Otherwise, that's it until we do the floor. So I'll check back in when we do the floor. You don't have to see me put up this last piece. It's the same as all the others. I cut these a little, not even focused. I hope I was focused that whole time, but probably not. Focus on. Come on, guys. That's better. Well, just in case that was blurry the whole time, I just cut this to length by eye. I just put my long piece up here, eyeballed it with my side and cut it. As far as height goes, I cut them like an 1/8 inch short on height because I know my mud pan is still coming up in here, so it doesn't have to be all the way to the floor, but I want to be able to pull it up to the perfect height of my 2x4 so that the top piece sits and gets a nice seal on there. Even though this whole thing, it's kind of silly even because this whole thing is going to be wrapped in our membrane anyway, but that's just me trying to have good practice of making everything nice and tight and sealed, so it never hurts. Take my long outside piece too now, putting it against the wall, then marking my outside, and cutting that by eye. Okay, so my outside's good. Ready to go. I guess I'll screw these in first, then I'll take the measurement for my top. By the way, this is the piece that I left high when I wasn't sure if we were going to have to add to our curb. So now I can cut that flush to my curb. So I'm going to do that. Alright, nice. So, sealant on both sides. Let's kind of wedge my piece in there to get the sealant in, kind of bend in the middle, and then tight on both. And then pull it up to be flush. Great. Screws. I use my tiny little gun. I got this little screw gun. It's not good for much except light screwing, but it's lightweight and nice to hold. It's the Milwaukee 12 volt. And I'm just going to screw. Get some in this piece as well. I'm just making sure I'm not in the middle of two 2x4s. I know I have 3 2x4s here, so. Alright, so I'm going to screw these in, the insides and outsides, then we'll cut our top. Okay, I cut my piece at 4 3/8, which is a little short, like a 1/16 short, so that I don't have any overhang. I'd rather be a hair too small than too big, because that might push my tile out. You can always build up something, but you can't remove something. So let's mark this. I'm just coming straight across here, there, and then on my return to like my corner, I'm just gonna go straight here. I'm not like mitering or anything. Okay, so my extra here will go on this piece going here. Let's switch to a top view so you can see. Okay. Let's get our sealant up against the wall here. Very important. And then on top of each of our blue parts here. I keep saying very important. It's more for the structure of it on this curb because we are doing a sheet of waterproofing over top. And Just like a little bit of glue on there. On the small pieces, I think I said that. Mash this into my corner. Line it up. Oh yeah. Let's see, I always get 2 on an end. I grabbed a disposable drywall knife just to do my smoothing of the sealant. Then the next morning, I just slice off the goop with my knife. So, any of this can go in a screw hole. I do still waterproof the screw holes. If anything, it's covering up the metal so that I'm not worried about my membrane on the metal. Not that I'm too worried, but again, it's me being nutty. Did I press record? Yes, always my first concern. While we're at that angle, I'll just quickly mark this next scrap. That's a nicer cut. Nice and tight. Do that end first. Oh yeah. I just always feel if I'm pushing down on 2 sides, I need to counter that with a middle. It's a lot of screws, but it's just this feeling I have. Okay, we're gonna screw all these in. So that's our Wedi shower. I didn't have many clips of filling all the screws. So of course, all of those screws and washers get coated with that sealant. And it's more than just once, at least twice, you know, so while all those joints have sealant in them and you might smooth it out on your first round, you also want to go again and hit it again and smooth out all those joints and screws again. Anyway, next step is probably maybe starting work on the custom shower pan and maybe even some tile. It's tough. Like I said before, I filmed these and now I have to figure out how to break them down to make them make sense. But anyway, that won't always be the case, but it's helping me start this channel, learning how to edit or how I want to edit and how YouTube works and stuff. So thanks for tagging along. I'll see you on the next one because I know you're subscribing because you love me already. Bye. Let me tell you something. If I posted outtakes at the end of my video, there would be like 40 or 50 of them because that intro just took forever.